Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It is another gorgeous morning here in northern Jersey. We're going to start working on the garden bed over on this side of the yard. And we're going to just do some general maintenance, nothing too crazy. We have some hellebores that have gotten a little bit too large. What happens is when they get too large, they die off in the center and just end up forming a ring. So in order to prevent that, what you want to do is split them up. So we're going to be doing that today. I'll take you along with me and show you how we do that. I'm going to just do some general grooming of the perennials that we have in here and some edging along the grass. And then later on this afternoon, I want to take a trip to a garden center and see what they have for some containers I want to be starting to spruce up in time for fall at the front of the house. So let's get started. All right, so I did lose my audio here, so I'm going to try to remember what I said as I walked you through what I was doing. This is what they call a hellebore, and sometimes referred to as a Lenten rose. They stay evergreen and they bloom in late winter. So for us in northern Jersey, that's anywhere between February and March. And sometimes I leave the bloom stalks on. They look pretty good. I'll show you later on one of the bloom stalks that's still on the plant. But what can happen is the plant can get too large and then die off in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and split that. This one right next to it looks really ratted and tattered, and so I'm going to cut the leaves off. And then here is where I'm showing you some of the bloom stalks that are still on the plant, which, considering that it's been on the plant since late February, early March, look fairly good considering how long it's been, but they don't look good enough to keep them on the plant. So I'm going to be cutting those off. If you see in the back of the hellebore, there is also an astilbe that have grown together, which is what I'm trying to show you right now. That astilbe needs to be moved just to give the plant some breathing room. So I'm going to be digging that out and moving it to a better space within the yard. All right, so if I move you in a little bit closer, all I've done here is literally I've taken the shovel and split it down the middle of the plant. So you can see the hole there. And then this is basically what we're going to be replanting. So you can see the roots and you can see the new little shoots that are going to start coming up. All right, guys, so here is what we ended up with in this flower bed. So there were some Haconocloa grasses, this one right here and this one right here. You can tell they're looking quite sad. They were in another part of the garden. And then this one right here was getting way too much sun. You can see it has a lot of fried up leaves. And this one was being covered by one of the barberry shrubs that we had. So I dug them out and I put them here at the base of this river birch at the front of the house, watered them in, and they should look really good for next year. This was the lentil rose, or the hellebore that I had shown you previously, that I had split up and pruned. More of the hellebores that I had pruned. Here's some of the ladies' mantle that I cut back. You know, anything that looked really bad and tattered, I cut that back. I went ahead and edged, trying to leave as much of a little ditch there between the actual grass and the flower bed so that it doesn't grow into the flower bed. One of the hellebores that I split, I tucked right into here that you can see, watered that in. There were the other two hellebores that I transplanted that I think would look nice in that area because it was a little bit bare. This one's going to get a little bit more sun, so I'm going to keep an eye on it since they do tend to be shade-loving plants, but they do okay in the sun, but it's still something that I want to keep an eye on. I had a bunch of irises here that I cut back. I filled up the water ring on this lilac right here because that was looking quite dry. Here I transplanted a coreopsis from a different part of the yard because it was starting to grow out onto the sidewalk and we were getting some complaints. Trimmed back and did some weeding back over there. I need to hide my drip lines. And just general maintenance. If I saw a weed, I pulled it, obviously. Continued the edging down over around here. And that's it. And off we're going to head to the garden center. Alright guys, so here's what we ended up getting at the garden center today. We have some miniature dahlias that you see at the bottom of your screen. We have some ornamental kale and cabbage, some larger celosia right here and right here. Some of the Malay grass that gets really tall and puts out large seeds blooms. And then some lobelia, which you see here is the purple variety right here, and the red variety is back there. Those are perennials that I will be planting into the ground, into one of the garden beds. It attracts a ton of hummingbirds and I love that. And then some more ornamental kale at the bottom. So that's what we got for our video today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And the next one, I will be putting these into containers in our front yard. See you guys in the next one. Bye. And there is my very playful puppy.